Hello everyone, we are back with another press conference review. It feels like ages, isn't it? Because it has been ages. It's been a long time for Liverpool to stew on those 3 consecutive defeats, but luckily I'm back and refreshed, and it looks like Arne Slot and the Liverpool squad are back and refreshed too. They seem very ready for this massive game that they've come back to at home against Manchester United. The best thing to go through with at the beginning is the team news, and that is also good news. Ryan Gravenberch and Ibrahima Konaté both are going to be in training, full training today and hopefully tomorrow, and will be in contention for that game. And by the sounds of it, it sounds like they'll both be ready to go. Slot called Ryan Gravenberch completely fit, which is a lot more unequivocal than he normally is around injuries, and certainly was around Alisson in terms of how long it's going to be before he comes back. So expect Gravenberch to play. With Konaté, it wasn't quite the same certainty, but again, I expect him to play as well. I think this game is big enough that you're going to be making a few extra pushes for it. But as I'm going to mention a few times in this video, this is the first of 7 games in 3 weeks, so there's going to be plenty of games for everybody, and Arne Slot might well be tempted to keep everyone a little bit on their toes in terms of their freshness. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not he makes it for the full 90. But expect them both to be in that starting lineup, which is good news. Speaking of good news, it's time for some top takeaways, don't you think? Top takeaway number 1, defence is a bigger issue right now than attack. Now, Slot was asked obviously about what's been going wrong over the course of those first 3 defeats, and it was interesting that he put a lot more priority on what's going wrong at the back rather than what's not going right up top. He said that Liverpool are still creating chances, but they are conceding far too many goals. And he listed the fact that the goals coming from set pieces, 4 goals from set pieces, even though interestingly enough, he still thinks that that's the strength of this particular side. I'm not sure how that can be true, but he believes that they are still good at defending set pieces, even though they're conceding lots of goals. He also mentioned a couple of fast breaks and from open play. He also mentioned the fact that Liverpool are conceding quite a few crosses. Now, this is something that we've seen. If anyone has seen the analysis on The Athletic from I can't remember who it was who put it out, but there's been some other analysis of Liverpool's failings, and a lot of time there's been emphasis on crosses coming in from wide areas. Mark Cucurella mentioned the fact that Chelsea were trying to exploit the space that Mo Salah was leaving when he wasn't tracking back, and this is a common theme of a lot of teams coming to play Liverpool, that they think that there are areas that can be exploited. And so Arne Slot, clearly from what he's been saying, has been working hard on this on the training ground, so hopefully we'll be seeing some defensive improvements over the course of the game against Manchester United. But it was interesting when you think about how many column inches have been dedicated to what's not going right for Mo Salah, for Alexander Isak, for Florian Wirtz, and all those big money attackers. As far as Slot's concerned, he's not as worried about what's happening at that end of the pitch. Chances are still being created, and when you've got talent that's that good, he knows that inevitably they are eventually going to start taking them. What hasn't happened so far is that they haven't stopped themselves from conceding chances, and Manchester United are a team who, believe it or not, I'll get more shots off than anyone else in the Premier League. So that will be tested on Sunday, and we'll have to wait and see exactly how much this training ground work has come to fruition. Top takeaway number 2, Isak's pre-season is over. Now, Slot was asked about Isak and the troubles that he had during the international break. Obviously, Sweden lost both games and it's all very depressing. John Dahl Tomasson got sacked, and everybody in Sweden's very much navel-gazing as to how this team of talents couldn't get into the World Cup in such an easy group. But the reality is, for Alexander Isak, yes, he was the captain of that side. Yes, he wanted to lead his team into the World Cup. He wanted to score some goals. But he got 2 90 minutes under his belt. And from a Liverpool perspective, that is the most important thing. And Slot kind of made reference to that. He said that the pre-season kind of period that he was expecting to have to go through was about 4 or 5 weeks, has come to its end now. So from here on in is when we should judge him, which is interesting because you'd have expected Slot to maybe say, well, maybe he's up to fitness and we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But no, he's very much like, this is when we should start expecting to see the real Alexander Isak, the one that Liverpool spent all summer pursuing and paid a lot of money for. So whether that means that we expect him to be immediately back to his best is not entirely sure, but certainly the super Swede sharpshooter should about to start shooting super sharp shots. you don't know that reference, then you're probably too old. Oh, not old enough, should I say. Either way, the point is that Liverpool are now likely to get the best out of their striker. But the beauty of it is that they aren't still asking him to play game after game after game after game. Because there's that other fella, Hugo Ekitike, who's been doing pretty well by his own standards. So therefore, Liverpool now should have two weapons who they can interchange perfectly. You haven't got to worry about how much minutes this guy gets and how much minutes that guy gets. We can just go there, and when one isn't working well, then maybe come off and let the other guy have a go. Who knows? We might actually start seeing him in the same starting lineup as well. Wouldn't that be something special? Top takeaway number 3, Liverpool have actually had a good break. Now, it sounds like an oxymoron when I say this because we all hate the international break so much and there's so much fear baked into it from a Liverpool perspective. But aside from what I just said about Alexander Isak, I think everyone else can come away saying that they had some good times over this international break. 5 Liverpool players scored. Van Dijk, Gakpo, McAllister, Szoboszlai and Salah all scored. Salah qualified for the World Cup with his Egyptian team. Obviously McAllister already has. Szoboszlai put his team in a good chance. I think that game against Ireland in the November international break is going to be do or die. So they're still in with a chance. Obviously the Dutch did very well. They're probably going to qualify pretty soon as well. So lots of players will be feeling good. Yeah, add into that as well Conor Bradley, who had a spectacular game against Slovakia, who will obviously be feeling good. Hugo Ekitike got his first start for France alongside Kylian Mbappe and looked like he did pretty well as well. So loads of these players are going to be coming back, bouncing back into the training ground, swapping stories of everything they got up to. And you know what? I think that's exactly what this team needed. Now, sometimes you say the best thing to get over a defeat or a run of defeats is to have another game and get over it. And Slot himself did say that in an ideal world, he'd have all of his squad with him to be able to get over these things and they'd be working hard on the training pitch. But as a man who has just come back from a nice refreshing break in France can tell you, sometimes getting away is just what you need. Get yourself out of that mindset. Get yourself into a brand new horizon, different people, different scenarios, different settings, and it can actually you feel refreshed, you feel ready to go. And when you couple that with the fact that Liverpool have had a good amount of time after that international exertions to get back inside, I think they're going to have 3 full training sessions, but after the players have come back, had some time to recover, to really go straight into that Manchester United game. The fact that it's on a Sunday rather than a Saturday also makes you think that Slot won't have to worry about their exertions away in terms of how he picks his side. The hope is that some of the rustiness that often accompanies these first games after international breaks will have washed away as well, because they're back into the familiar settings. As I said, they've had some good training sessions alongside. So hopefully we'll start to see the benefits of what international breaks can give you as a big team with lots of players going away. And who knows? Maybe this will be the start of a fantastic run, the start of where we start to see the real Liverpool FC in the 25-26 season. Now it's time to hear what Arne Slot had to say to my question, which is a little bit about rest versus rotation. Hi Arne, Sunday is the start of 7 games in 21 days, 3 weeks basically, and you've spoken plenty of times about the benefit of consistency and cohesion between the sides, but also you know that in such a period you're not going to be able to play everyone every game. How hard is it to make that balance between trying to build that chemistry between the side but also keep the freshness going?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because we were just talking about Maka, we're talking about Alex. Those are players we need to bring them back towards a lot of playing time, but you cannot go from no playing time at all to 3 times in a week. So that's why Conor Bradley the same in pre-season. So we had a few of them that led to changes, but everywhere around the world where teams have to face schedules like this, they have more than 11 players to take on this schedule. The thing is, if you rotate and you win, you do the smart thing. If you rotate and you lose, you have to play more with the same players. This is how football works, but it's clear that in general, it's, especially for certain positions, it's almost impossible to play them every single game. And if you do, it's the risk of a player getting injured, and this has happened just before the international break with a few players, and has happened during the international break with some players, not with ours. Except for Alisson, of course. But so yeah, you have to find a balance in this. But I think the ones we have are now longer together. So yes, Alex is not the same player as Hugo, but they are both a number 9, and they both know what to do in our system. So it's only something I like, that I have more than 11 players that can play a game of football, and it's never the reason for us to drop points or to lose a game of football.
Now, I think this was a question that Slot appreciated, because it allowed him to expose one of the contradictions of results-based analysis, in as much as when he said, if he rotates and Liverpool win, he's a genius. If he rotates, Liverpool lose, he's a fool. And this is true. I think we all have to remember the fact that when we are so obsessed with the results and with the outcome of things, it's really easy to forget how hard it is to make those decisions beforehand. So you can look at the idea of Liverpool playing the same players again and again and again, and you can say, okay, well, there's benefits to it. As I mentioned, cohesion, building chemistry, particularly with so many new players in the side. But then I mentioned again, there's such a lot of games in a short period of time. It's 3 games, a game every 3 days, should I say, for 3 whole weeks. So the idea of playing the games and playing players a majority of that time, you are running the risk of some of them breaking down. So I think Slot's probably going to have to do a mix of both things. But the encouraging thing for me in what he said was that it doesn't seem like he's going to be bound by fitness issues in terms of selection as much as he has been over the course of the first part of the season. He mentioned how many players are still kind of coming back to full fitness. I've said Isak, he mentioned McAllister and Bradley as well. Obviously he had Frimpong, who was out for some of that time as well. So the injuries have forced his hand a little bit in terms of who he's had to pick where and when. So that looks like it's coming to an end now, so hopefully he'll be a little bit easier in terms of how he picks his side. But there is still a conversation, there is still a decision to make as to which one he prioritises. Does he prioritise cohesion or freshness? And I don't think we'll know the answer to which is better until we get towards the end of the season, or maybe even towards the middle of the season, because that's essentially where it all broke down last year. And that's when we'll find out whether Slot genuinely trusts more players in the squad, whether he genuinely believes the way he did it last year was a mistake that he doesn't want to repeat. But for now, I think we'll have to wait and see across this run of 7 games exactly how many players play. I'm actually expecting there to be not massive amounts of rotation. I would expect maybe 2 or 3 from game to game. Obviously the Crystal Palace Carabao Cup game being the exception. I expect everybody who hasn't played up to that point to get a game in that one. But other than that, yes, this might be the start of seeing a regular build-up of tide, and we can maybe start to understand who is the best team, who is the Slot believe is his best 11, because I'm not sure we really know that as yet. But it'll be interesting to find out. Certainly, hopefully, in this game against Manchester United, with Anfield fully behind us, we'll be back to winning ways and a really great start to this long run. So there you have it. That is today's press conference review. Now, before I go, I wanted to do something because I realised that I haven't kind of let you in on exactly how this all goes for me in a while. So yes, I am still technically an independent journalist. I'm the only person in that room who's not being paid to be there. So I am relying on subscriptions, on donations, on views. So all of those things that content creators normally say at this point, please like, please subscribe, please, if you can, look in the description of the Buy Me a Coffee site, or come over to my Substack. All of those things matter to me as I'm trying to build my profile here. If you like my content, please tell other people, bring them over to the party. There's room for all of us here. I will be at the game on Sunday, so expect to see a match report coming out on Sunday on my Substack page. There will be another edition of the Late Challenge coming out on Monday, and I'll be all over the Anfield wrap in the weeks to come. So hopefully I'll see you all there. Take care now.